Hello and welcome back, guys. We're now going to be continuing along this Hathor basing area. And in the previous episode we've found the obsidian braces, if you remember, and I had a hard choice of whether to equip them or not, but in the end we decided to equip them, and they should make a difference, some difference to our offensive capabilities. Alright, we're now meeting some new enemies. There are Harpies, which are slightly different to the Harpies in Greece. They actually drop a different kind of monster charm as well. They drop hag skin rather than pristine plumage. You also notice these vultures here, and they actually drop disease plumage just like the crows in Greece. So it's kind of like still filling out the same niche as many of the Greek creatures that we fought. Right, so with third pristine plumage, we keep finding them, and that's that lookout cave out there, if you remember, that we went out on a couple of episodes back. And here are the Crocs, the Croc men, and these crocodile men. They're tougher than the Harpies and the vultures, but they're actually not too bad. They're only really dangerous if you either letting them surround you or if you're facing their monster heroes. The monster heroes actually are fairly challenging. Notice how many of the bigger ones, the Centurion Crocmen, they're using spears and also got storm enchantments. So this is something you've got to keep in mind. If you really need something against them, then lightning and piercing resistances would be your best bets here. And here you also have the casters. Notice there's one at the back, and he keeps spamming things at a mental rate. So they're actually some of the stronger mages out there, because they actually got a fair bit of health compared to mages of other monster species. So you might want to take them out quite fast. Here's a nice insulated ring we found. It's got 29% fire resistance, which is pretty amazing. So I decided that I would equip it instead of this one, which we've been keeping for a while. Although we don't need that much fire resistance now, but still it's nice to have, you know, and the mages and stuff would be casting fire every now and again. Well, yeah, the crocodiles were actually considered sacred animals in Egypt. They were associated, obviously they had a god called Sobek, who was a crocodile god, and he was one of the major deities in ancient Egypt. He was often associated with he was like a fighter god kind of, but he also was associated with fertility. Yeah, apparently there was a lot of worship of Sobek in the Fayum area, you know, the area we're gonna visit a bit later in the game. But there's also a temple in a place called Komombo, which is dedicated to Sobek, and it's actually a really nice temple. I've been there myself, and I would highly recommend you to visit it if you ever get a chance. It's got some interesting structures there. Like there was one structure that was built in right next to the River Nile that would kind of allow them to capture the crocodiles, the little crocodiles, to then be used for the worship purposes. Alright, so we're now in a cave, and notice these bigger scarabs here. They spit poison at you, so be careful. Don't get spat on. Even if you do, if you got a fair bit of poison resistance, then you should be safe. And over here the cave comes out, like outside into this little area, like similar to the lookout cave we've been in earlier. And here we meet the Dune Raiders for the first time. And Dune Raiders are actually quite easy enemies. I mean, the only thing about them is that they're quite fast, and they tend to usually attack in groups. But otherwise, if you see, most of them die with 1 or 2 hits. They're quite easy. Okay, I'm gonna backtrack to the cave, so I'll meet you just outside on the other side. Okay, so we're back outside of the cave, back to where we were. So we're gonna continue exploring this area. Very soon we're gonna do a side quest. We've already met the scorpions. Nasty creatures there, especially when they're this big. What caused them to grow this big, I wonder? What sort of sorcery is this? looks like a battle marker shrine has appeared whilst we were absent. It's strange, sometimes shrines do it, like when you enter a cave or something and then you come out and this new shrine has appeared. I think something happens with the map, like the map gets refreshed or something like that. And so shrines and these kind of objects tend to appear out of nowhere. Like if you remember a few episodes back when we were before we fought the Minotaur, there was a chest that appeared after we portaled back to the merchants. Alright, what is this? Nothing special. Okay, let's get going. It's quite a big open area, but now... Alright, so now we're in the Wadjet Canyons. We'll speak to these NPCs. This guy gives us a quest. Listen to what he says.
There's something out there. Something big that prowls at night. They talk of camels missing in the morning and caravans being attacked. Nobody's sure what it is, but they say...
Right, so we've gotten the Beast of Legend quest, side quest. I'm gonna complete it in this episode. And we're gonna get 2 skill points as a reward for it. So that's a very worthy quest of solving. And what we have to do is that we have to kill like one of the big Corpus, like a half scorpion, half man creatures in a cave. But here's a strange thing. Here's why I told you to listen to what the guy said carefully. The way he says, first of all, the quest is called Beast of Legend. And if you remember, if you know the secret bosses of the game, one of them is a manticore, and you fight it in Egypt, but it only appears in epic and legendary. And if I remember correctly, the manticore was called, in the name it had Beast of Legend. And another thing, when the guy says something big that prowls at night. Now if you think about it, I wouldn't have thought this like a Scopus, scorpion man would be prowling. Prowling is something usually cats do, don't they, when they sort of stalk the prey at night. So that's why I was thinking, it actually has these huge similarities to the manticore. Especially he said something big. I mean, the manticore is pretty huge boss if you fought it. So I always thought that this is kind of ambiguous. It has so many similarities to the manticore that maybe initially the developers intended for it to be a manticore, but then they changed their minds. Who knows? Okay, so we're continuing to explore this area. If you notice, we've just now used the Regeneration Shrine. And the Regeneration Shrine, here's a hag skin, by the way. It gives some nice piercing resistance. So if you are looking for pierce resistance, then you should hunt these Harpies in Egypt. But yeah, the Regeneration Shrine that we've just tagged a minute ago, if you noticed, we actually had to stay in its vicinity for it to actually take its effect, because if you leave it, it's not gonna really heal you. You have to stay like next to it. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, we have actually started fighting the hyenas as well. And they're not too bad, but they do often come together with the Dune Raiders as well, and sometimes Dune Raiders are riding the hyenas. I have no idea how they managed to tame them. There's one of them, and it's not just any mounted Dune Raider, it's one of the heroes, Naja the Parched. And this Naja the Parched, he seems to be... I don't know what he's doing. He's just trying to stab us. And they have, I think, a couple more. One of which is quest related, that we'll do later. And another one, I forgot his name, appears as well sometimes. But for the most part, they all just mounted Dune Raiders like these. They ride hyenas. Ta-da! Level up! Now level 20. Alright, let's get a nice place so we can stand in peace. And... Alright, we should actually be putting more points into Squall and obscure the visibility. We should be doing that. And also I said we're gonna get Disable, because shield procs is good to get them as early as possible. So I'm gonna put 1 point in that to get 2. Put 1 in the obscured visibility to reduce monster resistances for Squall. And 1 I'll put in the defense tree. We're gonna get 2 more skill points in a minute though. Right, for attributes, 1 in dexterity I put, and 1 in intelligence. And seriously guys, fuck off. Yeah, so yeah, here's the attributes as they are now. Damn, these guys just wouldn't let us level up properly. I should have probably killed them before leveling up. But yeah, they're not that tough anyway, so they wouldn't have killed us, even if we'd been standing there for half an hour. Oh yeah, and look over there, that's where we just come out of the cave. Anyways, Oh yeah, and sometimes these Dune Raiders, which are mounted on the hyenas, sometimes they like entrap you in a net. So that's something you gotta be wary of. It's not that they're really that dangerous or anything, but if they trap you in a net, it means you can't escape really, and they can really swarm you and stab you to death. Lupin Claw. Here it is. Gives some piercing damage. Lupin Claw drops from the hyenas. So that's their monster charm. So if you ever need any flat piercing damage to put on your weapons, then this would be a good one. What the heck happened to that hyena there? Just got all twisted. Notice how these Dune Raiders use quite a number of rogue skills, like some of them use throwing knives. Which is, once again, it's not anything too much to worry about, because at the end of the day, the knives, they wouldn't really do that. Oh! Battle marker. It's just standing there, hidden. But yeah, the knives aren't anything to worry about unless they carry the effects of some kind of overpowered damage over time, or some other effects, which is what we players use them for, usually. Okay, we're almost at the cave, where we're gonna be fighting that Corpus for the Beast of Legend side quest. And here's a Mastery Shrine. We should definitely make use of it when going there. It's very lucky that it's here. He's not exactly hard or anything, but the Mastery Shrine would make the killing him much quicker. Let's go and unleash our might upon them! Fuck yeah! Kill them all! Venom Sack. I knocked the Venom Sack out of him. And there he is, Ancient Corpus. And he's got a company of large scorpions there. But look how quickly we can deal with him, thanks to the Mastery Shrine. There. Destroyed his ass. Let's keep going whilst the Mastery Shrine effect is still lasting. And then we're gonna assign the skill points that we received as a reward in a minute. Come on, walk faster. Ugh, Mastery Shrine effect is gone just as we start fighting. Oh well. Alright, so we've got 2 unused skill points now as a reward. As you see, we've completed this side quest. So, gonna put one of them in Squall to make a Squall stronger, and one more in a Disable. So now a Disable skill has a 10% chance to be used, 10% chance to proc during normal attack. So yeah, we're gonna be kicking even more ass. We're almost at the next rebirth fountain now. So you can already see it on the map there in the corner. Just gotta finish off these last few Dune Raiders. Don't know why they're just standing there in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the desert. What are you doing, guys? Anything interesting here? Rocks? Alright, and now we're going down to the Nile floodplain. And we're gonna explore this area, this rather pretty area, in the next episode. So I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.